يا الطاش يا المعنا خط بكتابك الترحيب لو سرابك ليلك وجنة بالدجا في الليل تسري.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. إنه من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله تعالى، وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. أما بعد, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, today is our weekly class Al-Raqa'iq, matters of the heart. May Allah soften our hearts. May Allah purify our hearts, and may Allah fill our hearts with the Iman and Taqwa. Ameen. And we are talking about the most important topic, Al-Iman. Al-Iman, yes, my dear brothers and sisters. Assessing the absolute Iman, the true Iman. When the Muslim, the mu'min has reached that level of Iman, this indeed grants him the highest level and status in this world. By your Iman, you will be elevated in this world, and you will have the highest rank in the Jannah. So you win both this life and the next because of the Iman. Allah elevates your status in this world because of your Iman. Study the biographies of the ulama. And now we are reading their works, and they are alive. They are among us in the sense that they are not forgotten. Why? Because of the Iman, their ikhlas, their sincerity. Imam Bukhari, every day people are asking Allah to shower His mercy upon his soul. Muslim, Tirmidhi, Nasa'i, Ibn Majah, Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Malik, Imam Ahmad, Imam Shafi'i, Sufyan, Awza'i. Why? Their status. Who elevated their status? Allah. Because of their Iman. Because of their Iman. This is in the dunya only. The Akhirah, the highest ranks and levels in the Jannah. This shows the importance of Iman. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Hadid, ayah 19, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرُسُلِهِ أُولَئِكَ هُمُ الصِّدِّقُونَ وَالشُّهَدَاءُ عِندَ رَبِّهِمْ لَهُمْ أَجْرُهُمْ وَنُورُهُمْ والذين كفروا وكذبوا بآياتنا أولئك أصحاب الجحيم. This is in Surah Al-Hadid, ayah 19. As for those who believe in Allah and His Messenger, it is they who are truly the people of truth. And the martyrs with their Lord will have their reward and their light. But as for those who disbelieve and reject our science, it is they who will be the residents of hellfire. Let us reflect on this beautiful ayah. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. So this is the title. What is the name of the title? IMAAN. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا بِاللَّهِ. Okay. That's for those who believe in Allah. وَرُسُلِهِ, and His messengers. So they believed in Allah Azza wa Jal and the messengers whom were sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because of their iman, because of their belief in Allah and His messenger, Allah gave them this title, As-Siddiqun. As-Siddiqun, who are always truthful, always truthful. Siddiq is the person who always tells the truth, tells the truth, tells the truth, and abide by the truth. Because this is intensive form, sirat mubalagha. It's not like Sadiq. He is Sadiq. Who was Sadiq? He's truthful. No, he is Siddiq. He is always truthful. Like Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. As-Siddiq. He deserved that title because he is always telling the Prophet, you are truthful. You told the truth. Sadaqa, 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 sadaqa. He had no problem. He never hesitated in accepting anything the Prophet ﷺ told him. Never. Do you know the story when the Prophet ﷺ informed Quraysh that he went to Jerusalem overnight? So the people of Quraysh found it a chance for them to attack him. So they told him, you went last night and today you are with us. He said, yes. And you can imagine how sarcastic they were. So they told the Prophet ﷺ, describe it to us, Beit al-Maqdis. Because we had been there. Prophet ﷺ said, when they asked that question, I had no idea how to describe it. Because I didn't go there to count how many doors and windows and the size. Allah took me there and I entered and I prayed. And then I was taken to heaven. But what happened? Jibreel alayhi salam brought Beit al-Maqdis in front of him. Like today we say, live recovery. We are seeing the scene, second by second. And he started describing to them Beit al-Maqdis. And you know what he also said? He mentioned the things that happened in the way during the night journey, and the caravan that is going to arrive, and the camel that is leading the caravan, all these things. He gave them details. Abu Jahl found this is a chance to attack the Prophet ﷺ and to claim that he's an impostor, a liar. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was not there. Not there. So Abu Jahl, he met Abu Bakr and he said, "Oh, Abu Bakr." Abu Bakr, by the way, is not the name. It is the laqab. His name is Abdullah ibn Qahafa. So he said, Abu Jahl, did you hear what your friend is telling us? He said, what did he tell you? Abu Jahl said, he told us that he went last night to Bayt al-Maqdis and came back. He said, he did? Did he tell you that? He said, yes. Then he said, Abu Bakr immediately he told you the truth. If he did so, if he told you that, he told you the truth. So Abu Bakr had no issue. No issue at all. Because he said, he tells me in no time that Jibreel came and informed him, and I believe in that. So if he told me that he went overnight to Jerusalem and came back, what's the problem? Allah took him. Yes, it is impossible for us by our own power as human beings. Yes. But did he say that I went by myself? No. Allah took him. So what's the problem? What's the problem? سبحان الذي أسرى بعبده ليلا من المسجد الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى الذي باركنا حوله. Blessed be he. Glory be to him. Who took أسرى بعبده, who took his servant from Al-Masjid al-Haram, the sacred mosque, إلى Al-Masjid al-Aqsa, to the farthest mosque, الذي باركنا حوله, which we blessed its surrounding, which have blessed surroundings around him. All the area around Bayt al-Maqdis is Mubarakah, Ardun Mubarakah, blessed land. And the Prophet ﷺ said, Usriya bi, Usriya. I was taken. And Al-Isra is the night journey. And yet you hear some, if we consider them Muslims, they are doubters who doubt the incident of Al-Isra. When Allah made it clear, Subhana alladhi asra bi'abdihi layla min al-masjid al-haram ila al-masjid al-aqsa. Allah took him. So Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, this is the IMAAN. The IMAAN, my dear brothers and sisters, once you believe that he is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then chapter is closed. you don't doubt anything because you accepted him as Rasulullah. You accepted him as Rasulullah. Before that, you have the right to verify, is he a true prophet or not? That's it. That's your right. Anyone comes and says, I am a prophet. That's it. At that time, of course, you verify. That's why Sayyidina Salman al-Farisi, he was a fire worshipper in Persia, and then he saw some Christians and he followed them, and he lived with priests, and because he was seeking and looking for the truth. And this learned man, the Christian monk, is old, is dying. He told him, my son, no one is upon the true monotheistic creed and on the true message of Christ except myself, and I'm dying. And there is another one, brother, in this place. Go to him when I die. And he did. And that one also is getting old. So he said, this is the time now for a prophet to appear and emerge in Arabia, in a place full of date palm trees. Okay? So Salman radiallahu anhu started searching, and he found a caravan going to Medina. And he said, I want to go. So they said, okay, come. And they sold him as a slave to the Jews in Medina. So when the Prophet ﷺ arrived in Medina, subhanallah, because the news reached Medina that the Prophet ﷺ and his companion Abu Bakr, they left Mecca. So every day the Ansar, they go out to the suburbs of Medina, waiting on the outskirts. Many days to receive him. And then they would wait until noon, then they would go back. And one day they saw that the Prophet ﷺ and his companion Abu Bakr could see them from a far distance. So the Sahaba, the Ansar, received him chanting and rejoicing. And by the way, this طلع البدر علينا من ثنيات الوداع وجب الشكر علينا ما دعا لله داع. Okay, where many Muslims believe that that's what the Ansar said, which is not true. Because the Prophet ﷺ did not come from the direction of Thaniyat al-Wada. Thaniyat al-Wada is in the direction of Asham, Syria, and Lebanon, and Palestine. So he didn't come from that direction. That's why Ibn al-Qayyim said, if this happened, it could be when the Prophet ﷺ came from Tabuk, not when he entered the Medina, not no.
Sorry, Sheikh. It's breaking up a bit. Could you go back and what you just said? It cut out.
Okay.
Jazakum Allah khair.
So this song that we hear, that the Prophet, the Ansar, when they received the Prophet ﷺ, entering Medina, they were chanting and singing, طلع البدر علينا من ثنيات الوداع وجب الشكر علينا ما دعا لله داع. Which you will read in the books of the Seerah. But that's not authentic, because the Prophet ﷺ did not come from the direction of Thaniyat al-Wada. Thaniyat al-Wada are in the direction of Asham, Lebanon, Syria, Palestine, that area. So he didn't come from that direction. Ibn al-Qayyim in Zad al-Ma'ad, he commented and he said, did it happen that way? And if he said, okay, because we know when it comes to the Seerah, we don't have unbroken chain of narrators in the Seerah, but it is conveyed orally, generation to generation. So, I mean, not all the incidents of the Seerah or the events. Some we have isnad for them. Okay, that's why the scholars of Hadith, when it comes to the Seerah, they are lenient and flexible. Okay, they don't apply the Hadith methodology, as Imam Ahmad rahimahullah mentioned. So Ibn Qayyim said, this could have happened, that when the Prophet ﷺ returned from Tabuk, when he went to Tabuk, yes, then he would come from that direction, Thaniyat al-Wada. So now Sayyidina Salman, subhanallah, when the Prophet ﷺ entered Medina, all the Ansar and their families received him, and the Medina, okay, became alive. Salman was on top of a date palm tree, picking dates. He came quickly down, because this is what he wants to know. He's waiting for this moment, this prophet. And he is aware and familiar with the prophecies in the scripture. So when he saw the Prophet ﷺ, he realized this could not be the face of a liar. Safiya, daughter of Huyay ibn al-Akhtab, who later on became the wife of the Prophet ﷺ, she said, in the morning, my father and my uncle, they went to see him, to verify, because they were telling the Arabs, this is the time of a prophet to come. We'll believe in him, and we will fight you and wipe you out. So they went in the morning, and she said they came in the evening, and I was small. So when I ran to, normally they hug me, they carry me. So I ran to them, they neglected me. And I heard my uncle telling my father, one of them telling the other, what do you think of him? He said, he is the one. He's the prophet. She heard them. Then he asked them again, what should we do? Said, we are going to fight him. Subhanallah. You know he's the prophet of Allah. And yet, instead of believing in him, you're going to fight him. Sayyidina Salman, he continued going. So he came one day to the Prophet ﷺ with bucket of dates and he put it in front of him and said, "This is sadaqah, sadaqah, charity." The Prophet ﷺ passed it to his companions and he told them, "Eat." He didn't touch it. So Salman said, "This is one of the prophecies. He doesn't eat sadaqah." He came again the other day with a bucket of dates, said, "This is a gift." The Prophet said, "Bismillah," because he receives presents and gifts. Another prophecy fulfilled. So Salman wants to verify. Now Salman wants to know the seal, Khatam al-Nubuwah, the seal of prophethood. It is a growth here between his shoulders, covered with few hairs. He wants to see that. How? So one day the Prophet ﷺ was in the graveyard burying a Muslim, and Salman was looking, trying to see with the collar or the cloak folds back that he could see what is here. The Prophet ﷺ knew what he was looking for. He said, "Salman, you want to see this, right?" And he showed him. Salman became a Muslim. So, before, it is your right to verify, cross-check. Once you believe, finish. You don't doubt him anymore. So, the Sahaba, they saw the proofs. And this Quran is the proof. Anyone who says, "What is the proof that Muhammad is Allah's messenger?" said, "This Quran, read it." Though there are miracles he performed, but you cannot reproduce them. Just like you cannot reproduce the miracles performed by Moses, by Christ, alayhim salam, or anyone. Cannot. But we have the Quran. This is the living miracle we have. So the Sahaba, they heard the Quran and witnessed the revelation of the Quran, and they witnessed the miracles the Prophet ﷺ performed. So they know he is Rasulullah. Finish. So you don't doubt. The problem with many weak Muslims who have weak Iman, you find them, they doubt basics, fundamentals. If you doubt that, then you are not a Muslim. You are not a Muslim. Finish. You doubt the authenticity of the Quran, you are not a Muslim. You are absolute kafir. Because Allah said that He's going to protect it. And you doubt what Allah said? إِنَّا نَحْنُ نُزَّلْنَا الذِّكْرَ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. Oh. He's Rasulullah. Subhanallah. Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, he's one of those Siddiqun. On the day of Al-Hudaybiyah, when a truce was signed between peace agreement between the Muslims and the Mushriks, you know, the Prophet ﷺ came to perform Umrah, they stopped him. And they said, next year. And there are many clauses in the agreement appear, okay, from the outset that they are unfair. But later on you realize the wisdom behind that. And the Prophet ﷺ, these clauses, some of them, they say, of the clauses mentions that if a Muslim comes, joins the kuffar, that means he became apostate, and left Islam, Quraysh are not obligated or obliged to return him. And if any of the mushriks becomes Muslim and joins the Muslim should return him. And the Prophet accepted that condition. Sayyidina Umar was boiling because why we accept this unfair? These clauses are unfair one. It's not just. So he came to Sayyidina Abu Bakr and he said, "Oh Abu Bakr, aren't we upon the haqq, upon the truth?" He said, "Yes, we are." He said, "Why do we compromise? Why do we listen to what Suhail ibn Amr is dictating?" See, Sayyidina Abu Bakr said, "Umar, ilzam gharza, innahu Rasulullah." This is what Sayyidina Abu Bakr said. Umar, be careful. Stay next to the stirrup of the horse, of his camel or horse. Be next to him. He is Rasulullah. Don't forget that, O Umar. Sayyidina Umar anhu, later on, he said, "I did a lot of good works to expiate what I spoke, hoping that Allah will expiate what I said." Though he said that out of anger. This is a Siddiq. This is Abu Bakr. This is Abu Bakr whose iman outweighs the iman of the rest of the ummah. After the death of the Prophet ﷺ, many of the tribes became apostate. Apostasy spread throughout Arabia. Abu Bakr stood firmly in their face, and he fought them and he brought them back to Islam. When Sayyidina Umar asked Abu Bakr, "Oh Abu Bakr, how are you going to fight the people?" When the Prophet ﷺ said that I have been commanded to fight the people until they say Shahadat la ilaha illallah and the Salah and the pillars of Islam. And Sayyidina Abu Bakr told him, "Umar, by Allah, I will fight whoever differentiates between the prayer and zakah. Refusing the zakah, to me, is just the same like rejecting the Salah. And I'm going to fight them even if by myself alone." That is Abu Bakr Siddiq. You know, the Prophet ﷺ, before he breathed his last, he sent the army to combat the Romans, because the news reached that the Romans are planning to attack the Muslims. And the army set out, but then they heard about the sickness of the Prophet ﷺ, so they waited to find out. And then the Prophet ﷺ passed away. And the Prophet ﷺ, during his sickness was telling the Muslims, "Send the army of Osama, send it." Now the Prophet ﷺ passed away, and many of the Arabs became apostates. So some of the Sahaba suggested to Abu Bakr to keep the army to protect the Medina. because you see the dangers surround us from every corner. See what Abu Bakr said. I will not untie a flag that was tied, okay, on the post by the Prophet ﷺ for Usama. You know, you take the flag, you tie it on the stick, and you hand it over to the leader. And how? How do you want me to untie that flag? Send the army of Usama. And he himself came out to give the farewell for the army. And he was walking. Usama was riding. And Usama said, let me come down. I said, no. Okay? Let my feet get dirty. Okay? For the sake of Allah. And the army was set out and sent. The Romans, when they heard this, they retreated. That's why they said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala نصر هذا الدين برجلين بأبي بكر يوم الردة وبأحمد يوم الفتنة. Allah protected this deen by two men. Abu Bakr, when the tribes and the Arabs, many of them became apostates on the days of apostasy, Ridda, and by Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal on the fitna of that the Quran was created. والذين آمنوا بالله ورسوله أولئك هم الصديقون. صديقون, always telling the sidq, and this is what you should be as a Muslim. You should always tell the truth. You should not lie and should not get used to telling lies. And there's nothing called white lie. Okay. Then Allah said, وَالشُّهَدَاءُ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ لَهُمْ أَجْرُهُمْ وَنُورُهُمْ. Allahu Akbar. الشُّهَدَاء, martyrs. This, their status is high and high and high. Status of the martyrs. See, La ilaha illallah. The martyr, the shaheed, he doesn't feel the pain except like the bite of an ant. The martyr, the first drop of blood comes out, his sins are forgiven. The martyr, he will not be questioned in his grave. No questions. No fitna. No fitna. No trial. The martyrs then will be told, go, stay to the Jannah, go. They enter the Jannah where others are still waiting. Malaika would ask them, have you finished? You went through the process of reckoning? Said, what for? We didn't have anything, we were poor, and we only have our swords fighting in Allah's cause. And they, like the poor immigrants, and they entered the Jannah, and people are still waiting. The martyrs, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala honors them and give them the honor of interceding for their families, to bring 70 of their families, 70 members of their families from the hellfire, bring them out as a reward for them. No one, my dear brothers and sisters, loves to come back to the dunya and to fight and die, except the shaheed. He wants to come back. That's why, my dear brothers and sisters, we should cry over ourselves, not over the shuhada. The shuhada, we should feel happy for them. Happy for them. In seconds, and they are in the Jannah. Seconds. No time. Soul comes here, he's there in the Jannah. Finish. The Prophet ﷺ, he was describing the battle of Mu'tah. He was giving the sermon, and he was telling the Muslims what is happening in Sham. That Abdullah ibn Rawaha was martyred, and so he was telling them. Then he told them, and now Ja'far bin Abi Talib took the flag, and now he lost his right arm. He picked the flag with the left arm. He lost his left arm. He picked the flag with the remaining parts of his arm, and now he was martyred, and the tears were rolling down his cheek. And then he said, and now I see Ja'far flying with 2 wings in the Jannah. Allahu Akbar. No time. Ja'far is with the Malaika flying in the Jannah with 2 wings. That's why he is called Ja'far al-Tayyar. Ja'far, flyer. So, Shuhada, Sayyidina Khalid ibn al-Walid, his wish was to die in the battlefield as shaheed. But he did it. He died normal death. So he said, I have witnessed this number of battles. There is no place in my body except there are scars all over my body, either because a cut of a sword, okay, or because of an arrow hit me, or a spear. And now I die like the camel. فلا نامت أعين الجبناء, may the eyes of the cowards never enjoy sleep. So that was his wish, to die in the battlefield. والشهداء, and subhanallah, you know, when the soul comes out from this body, the soul, if it is the soul of a good person, may Allah make our souls of good people, and the angel of death take it and give it to the other angels who are with him to help him, and they wrap it in the shroud which is brought from the Jannah, a nice smell will come out. Then this soul will be taken and placed in birds in the Jannah. Because the soul cannot exist on its own, it has to be carried. And this dunya carried in the body, and the akhirah in the birds. And the souls of the shuhada and green birds. The birds that carry the souls of all the Muslims, not the martyrs, they roam in certain part of the Jannah. They can fly, not all over the place. But these green birds, the birds that carry the souls of the shuhada, they are free. They go wherever they want. See the honor a shaheed gets. That's why Al-Khansa, she rejoiced when her 4 sons were martyred. She rejoiced. Before the battle started, she said, "Come, my sons. I don't want to see any one of you come back alive. And I want you to know that you are legitimate children. You are the children of your dad. Your mother never cheated on your father. And I don't want any one of you to come back alive." And all of them were martyred. When the news reached her, she rejoiced. And she praised Allah. She said, "Alhamdulillah, who honored me by granting my children martyrdom." This is the Iman. This is what the Iman does. Though Al-Khansa before Islam, because he was a poetess, and she was praising her brother and composing poems and crying on his, because after he died, Sakhr, her brother. And see now the other Khansa before Islam and after Islam. Totally different person. So what caused that? Tremendous change. It is the Iman. The Muslim Ummah is in need of mothers like Al-Khansa. Bring up real men. To bring up real men. The lullaby for the child is La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. The ayat of the Quran. She is breastfeeding her, and the child hears only the words of Allah. He hears the words coming from the lips of his mother, the tasbih and the tahleel and the takbir. That is his lullaby. Not black sheep, huh? Have a new word. So our children, they grow up as black sheep. والشهداء عند ربهم لهم أجرهم ونورهم. والشهداء عند ربهم لهم أجرهم ونورهم. الشهداء عند ربهم، عند ربهم أحياء، وين؟ عند ربهم. There, they are alive. The life of the martyrs in the before the day of resurrection is the barzakh life. بل أحياء عند ربهم يرزقون. عند ربهم, in the Jannah. يرزقون, the birds they fly in the Jannah. That's why Al-Abbadi rahimahullah said in his poem, one of the ulama of Yemen, he said, والشهداء وأنبياء الله أحياء لكن عند الله وما لهم حكم الحياة عندنا لكونهم قد فارقوا دار البلا. والشهداء, the martyrs, and the prophets, they are alive, but with Allah there in the Akhirah. Barzakh life. We don't know it. وَمَا لَهُمْ حُكْمَ الْحَيَاةِ عِنْدِنَا. Their life is not like their life when they were with us. It's a different one. Because they have left this life, this worldly life. So they are alive there in the Akhirah. So you cannot say, oh, they are alive, so let's just ask them. No. The prophets are alive, so let us ask them. No, you don't do that. You don't ask them. That's why the Prophet ﷺ, when you send the salam, Allah sends his soul to his body, which means the soul is not in the body. And there are angels, they convey to him the salam. Even the Prophet ﷺ, he doesn't hear you. Only angels, they inform him. So you don't ask. And that's what the Sahaba understood very well. Sahaba understood this. So none of them, after his death, came to his grave asking him, though they went through many hardships, because they knew his life now is totally different. During the reign of Sayyidina Abu Umar radiallahu anhu, they had drought. Sahaba didn't come to the grave of the Prophet ﷺ. They prayed istisqa, asking Allah to send down the rain, and they asked Al-Abbas, the uncle of the Prophet ﷺ, to lead them. And that's fine. Al-Abbas is alive. Though Umar is better than Al-Abbas, but because he is the uncle of the Prophet ﷺ. If it was permissible, they would have come to the Prophet ﷺ and asked him, "O Prophet of Allah, we have drought, ask Allah." No, they didn't do that, because they understood the deen very well, not like many ignorant Muslims. وَالشُّهَدَاءُ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ, they are there with Allah. لَهُمْ أَجْرُهُمْ وَنُورُهُمْ. And the martyrs with their Rabb, with their Lord, will have their reward and their light. Light. وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا وَكَذَّبُوا بِآيَاتِنَا أُولَئِكَ أَصْحَابُ الْجَحِيمِ. الذين كفروا وكذبوا بآياتنا أولئك أصحاب الجحيم. But as for those who disbelieve and reject our signs, أولئك أصحاب الجحيم. أصحاب الجحيم. As Jahim, hellfire, is their own place. Okay? They are companions with the fire, very close tie with the fire. Ashab al-Jahim, those who disbelieve and reject the signs, reject the revelation, their destiny, their fate, what they will end up having. Jahannam, Al-Jahim. They are the residents, the inmates, the indwellers, the hellfire. And the Siddiqun, my dear brothers and sisters, they are next to the prophets. They status. مع النبيين والصديقين والشهداء وحسن أولئك رفيقا. أنبياء, prophets, صديقون next. In the dunya and in the akhirah. That's why. Who's the best of this ummah? Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq is the best of this ummah. That's why the belief of Ahl Sunnah, when we arrange the status of the Khulafa, the four caliphs. So first one Abu Bakr, then Umar, then Uthman, then Ali radiallahu anhu. First one is Abu Bakr, because he is the one who sacrificed for this deed. He gave all his wealth, everything. What did you leave, oh Abu Bakr, for your family? Allah, for them. Sayyidina Umar tried many times to compete with him, and he failed. This is Abu Bakr. No one can compete with him. One day the Prophet ﷺ asked, who witnessed janazah? This is before the sunrise. Abu Bakr. Who's fasting today? Abu Bakr. Who did this? Only Abu Bakr was raising his hands. When the Prophet ﷺ mentioned the gates of the Jannah, that one who is fasting will come through Al-Rayyan, and everyone will come through whatever he's doing through a particular gate. Sayyidina Abu Bakr posed the question, and he said, O Prophet of Allah, will there be anyone who will be called from all the gates? He said, yes, and I hope you are one of them. There are people who are doing all types of khair, good. So all the angels are calling them, come here, come here. And you know who else can also be called from all the gates? You sisters, you. The pious sister, the pious Muslimah who obeys her husband and protect her honor and maintain her prayers. That day, angels are calling her, come through this gate, to this gate. So this beautiful ayah, my dear brothers and sisters, which Allah informed us that they believe in Allah and His messengers, if you fulfill that, this entitle you, okay, for the title of Siddiqun. You will be from among the Siddiqeen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the ikhlas. Ameen. So if you fulfill the condition of the Iman, then you will be, inshaAllah, from among the Siddiqeen and the Salihin. عن أبي سعيد الخدري رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إن أهل الجنة يتراءون أهل الغرف من فوقهم كما يتراءون الكوكب الدري الغابر في الأفق من المشرق أو المغرب لتفاضل ما بينهم. قالوا يا رسول الله تلك منازل الأنبياء لا يبلغها غيرهم. قال بلى والذي نفسي بيده رجال آمنوا بالله وصدقوا المرسلين. رواه البخاري. The Prophet ﷺ narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiallahu anhu that the Prophet ﷺ said, listen to this beautiful hadith. The people of paradise will look at the dwellers of the lofty mansions, the superior place in paradise, in the same way as one looks at a brilliant star far away in the east or in the west on the horizon. All that is because of the superiority of one another and rewards. On that, the people, the companions, said, O Allah's Messenger, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, are these lofty mansions for the prophets, which nobody else can reach? The Prophet replied, No, by Allah, in whose hands my life is. These are for the men who believed in Allah and also believed in the messengers. See the status of the believers? This is what will be given to them in the Jannah. People in the Jannah, they are looking, oh, see that lofty place, high. It is so high. Just like when you are seeing the star on the horizon, far away and higher. Because the Jannah, my dear brothers and sisters, they are ranks. When one of the Sahabiyat, the women of the Sahaba, her son, I think Hamdallah, was martyred. She came to the Prophet ﷺ, said, O Prophet of Allah, tell me, if he is in the hellfire, I will lament and cry. But if he's in the Jannah, I will feel happy. He said, have you lost your mind? Don't you know there are ranks and levels of Jannah, different levels in the Jannah, and your son is in one of the highest in the Jannah. Subhanallah. So here, when the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that this is status and of the people in the Jannah, and they are very, very high, so the Sahaba thought maybe these are the places and the mansions for the prophets, and no one can be there, reach there. The Prophet told them, no. رِجَالٌ آمَنُوا بِاللَّهِ. These mansions are for men who believed in Allah. وَصَدَّقُوا الْمُرْسَلِينَ. Okay? And also believed in the messages, and they accepted what the messengers told them. May Allah strengthen our IMAAN. May Allah make us among truthful and keep us among the truthful. May Allah forgive us faults and mistakes and ignorance. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us remain steadfast on this beautiful day till we breathe our last and meet our Rabb, find him pleased with all of us. Amen. May Allah bless us with the beneficial knowledge of righteous deeds. May Allah unite our ummah on the haqq. May Allah unite our hearts on the haqq. And may Allah reward all of you, dear brothers and sisters, immensely for your patience and attendance. Barakallahu feekum. Jazakum Allahu khayra. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullahu khair, Sheikh, for our lessons and reminders in our Matters of the Heart class. For those of you who are watching, We've recently, since starting from yesterday, have started these lessons from 1 p.m. UK time, and that will continue to be the case for the following sessions until further notice. If you would like to be notified of the time changing or the plans changing, you can join the WhatsApp group by texting the Al Fitrah phone number, which has been sent in the YouTube live chat. And in the group, you'll be notified of these changes, or you can subscribe to the YouTube channel and turn on the notification bell, and you'll be notified when we are going live about 10 to 15 minutes before, inshallah. Also, in the WhatsApp group, we are going to have our Q&A session. You can either send your messages there, or you can send your messages in the YouTube live chat, and someone might be able to forward them through, inshallah. Our first question for today, Sheikh, is asking, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Is it haram to seek ilm and knowledge about the deen for the sake of Allah and for a worldly gain, such as to keep the mind busy?
No, you should purify your niyyah only for the sake of Allah. For the sake of Allah. Always make things for the sake of Allah. Forget about the dunya. Dunya is the byproduct. It comes. It will follow you. Don't forget about it. Don't think of the dunya. Seek the knowledge for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And because seeking the knowledge is ibadah and it needs ikhlas, sincerity. So Allah will put barakah in your knowledge and facilitate and pave the way and make it easy for you. Next.
Jazakumullahu khair. The next question is asking, is it enough for a woman who has istihada but without bleeding just to make wudu before each mandatory prayer so that she can save time and energy?
The istihada, the definition of istihada is that a woman is having continuous bleeding. Continuous bleeding. So some women, they have istihada from day one, from the day that she reached the age of puberty, she is bleeding. So here she leaves the salah the number of days her mother or her sister, or if the color changes, and then she takes wudu for every salah. And she can do what is known as Jam' Suwari. Okay. This Jam' Suwari, what does it mean? That she delays Dhuhr, example, until the end of the time. So by the time she finishes Dhuhr, Asr starts, so she can pray Asr. So she takes wudu for every salah. For every salah, she takes wudu. And she lives her life normally, reads the Quran. If she is married, her husband can sleep with her, all these things. One of the wives of the Prophet ﷺ was in the Masjid al-Nabawi, in the Masjid, in I'tikaf. And she was bleeding. And she placed hot underneath her, below her. So the blood is collected in that pot because, those days, no sanitary towels as you women today you have. You don't know if a woman is having her period or not. But in the past, women, they have special clothes, and sometimes the material gets soaked and you could see some spots. So yes, for every salah, she takes the wudu. Next.
Jazakumullahu khair. The next question is asking, can a woman stay in her car in the cemetery whilst the husband attends a relative's burial, the janazah prayer? Because due to the short time and the long distance, it's not possible for her husband to drop her off anywhere else or take her anywhere after the janazah. So is she allowed to pray her janazah prayer in the car?
you're saying that a man went to attend funeral prayer and it is in the graveyard, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. And his wife is in the car.
Naam.
First of all, what is the ruling for women to visit the graveyards or to come to the graveyards? Okay, there are, of course, controversial issues. Some of the ulama are saying it is haram. Based on the hadith, لعن الله زوارات القبور, may Allah curse the women who visit the graveyards or the graves. The other opinion says no. Women, they can visit the graveyards. Okay. And the hadith that says لعن الله زوارات القبور is only emphasizing upon the frequency. Women who frequently visit the graveyard, because zawarat is intensive form, صيغة مبالغة. That means they always repetitive, they keep going to the graveyard. And because women normally, when they go to the graveyards, they lament or bewail, etc. But if a woman will not do that, it is permissible. Because the Prophet ﷺ, when he said that, أَلَا إِنِّي قَدْ نَهَيْتُكُمْ عَنْ زِيَارَةِ الْقُبُورِ أَلَا فَزُورُوهَا, I have stopped you and prohibited you from visiting graveyards before, now you can visit the graveyards because it reminds you of the Akhirah. And we know that the ahkam, the ruling for men are the ruling for women. No difference at all. And women, they need to be reminded. Aisha radiallahu anha visited the grave of her brother Abdul Rahman. Aisha radiallahu anha followed the Prophet ﷺ to the Baqiyah, and he didn't tell her anything. Atiyya said we were told not to follow the funeral procession, but not strictly. So this is what you should know. If a woman wants to go to the graveyard or attend janaza prayer, or there was janaza and she wanted to pray, that's fine, no problem. Okay. So now, if the rows of the men are in front of you, you can come out from your car and join the congregation and pray. That's fine. But not to sit down in the car, because normally prayers, they should be, you come down and you pray. I hope this is clear to the questioner. Next.
Jazakumullahu khair. Our next question is asking, Assalamu alaikum.
This is the last question, Abdullah.
Okay,
Because
our final question for today. Are we allowed to do or to make sajda if we are unable to pray, such as maybe on our on the menses, but when they listen to the Quran, they stumble upon an ayah that is recommended to make sujood? Are they allowed to make sujood?
Sayyidah, you can make it even without wudu, because it's not salah. It's not salah. So you can make the sayyidah. Okay? And it is sunnah. Sayyidah is sunnah, not obligatory. It's not obligatory, it is sunnah. The Sayyidina Umar ibn Khattab was giving the khutbah one day and he came across Sayyidah. He came down and he prostrated. Then the second khutbah, Friday, he came across Sayyidah and he told the people, we come across the Sayyidah. Whoever wants to prostrate, do so. Who doesn't want, it's okay. It is not obligatory. Is this clear?
Jazakumullahu khair, Sheikh. And that brings us to the end of today's session. For those of you watching, please do not forget to tune in next week, Saturday, for our Fundamentals of Tawheed class. We look forward to seeing you then. We look forward to seeing you, Sheikh, then, inshallah. And if you have any final words, I can pass it to you.
Barakallah feekum, jazakumullah khair. May Allah bless you, bless your family, protect you, and protect your family, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevate your status, this word, and in Jannat al-Na'im. Ameen. Until we meet, inshallah, in the coming sessions, I leave you in Allah's company and protection. في حفظ الله ورعايته. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
آمين وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.